The clock on the terminal wall at Denver International Airport blinked 1:04 a.m. Most of the airport had gone still, save for a few passengers yawning into neck pillows or scrolling wearily through their phones. Flight 1178 to Boston was one of the last departures of the night, a red-eye designed for the truly tired and the hopelessly busy. Daniel Reed was both. He slumped into seat 21B, smack in the middle of the exit row. His laptop bag thumped onto the floor, and he sighed as he leaned his head against the cool window. A long business meeting had drained him, and all he wanted now was to sleep through the next 4 hours. Then the man in seat 21C sat down. Daniel didn't notice at first. No noise. No footsteps. 1 second the seat was empty, and the next it was filled by a tall, pale man in a charcoal black overcoat. He didn't look like the others boarding the plane, no luggage, no travel weariness. He sat impossibly still. Back straight. Hands folded. Eyes fixed forward like he was staring through the seat in front of him. Daniel offered a polite nod. Hey! No response. Not even a blink. Weird. Still, Daniel chalked it up to fatigue. Maybe the guy was sleeping with his eyes open. Maybe he was one of those oddball introverts who preferred silence. Either way, Daniel didn't have the energy to care. But something about the man bothered him. There was no phone in his hand. No book. No headphone wires peeking from his collar. And then, there was the smile. A thin, unbroken curve of lips that never moved. Just a fixed, serene grin, too calm, too perfect. Daniel turned his eyes forward and tried not to think about it. As passengers finished boarding and the plane began taxiing, the flight attendant made her rounds, checking seatbelts and tray tables. When she got to their row, she stopped and looked directly at Daniel. "You're in the exit row, sir. Are you willing and able to assist in the event of an emergency?" Daniel nodded. "Yeah. I've got it." The attendant glanced at the man next to him. "And you, sir?" "Nothing." The man didn't move. Daniel looked over. The man's smile was still frozen, his hands still perfectly placed on his lap, his posture stiff as steel. "Sir," the attendant tried again, voice a little sharper. Daniel turned back toward her. "I don't think he's." "I'm here," said the man, softly. His head rotated in slow motion. Not turned, rotated. As if his neck didn't have joints but rather a pivot. His face shifted toward Daniel, the grin never fading, and his eyes finally met Daniel's. They were the kind of eyes you couldn't place an age on, ancient, sunken, but shimmering with something unnatural. They didn't blink. They didn't waver. Just boring into him like twin needles of ice. "I'm here to watch you go first," he whispered. Daniel's skin crawled. The flight attendant's face didn't change. She simply gave a curt nod, as if nothing was wrong. "Thank you both." She turned and moved down the aisle. Daniel blinked. "Wait, did you hear what he just said?" But the attendant was already gone. The man was staring forward again. As the plane climbed into the dark sky, turbulence set in. The kind that isn't dangerous but unsettles you just enough to question the safety of metal flying through the atmosphere. The cabin lights dimmed. Snoring started. Headphones hummed. Daniel tried to focus on his screen, on anything other than the eerie presence beside him. But questions kept creeping in. Who was this man? Why didn't anyone else seem to notice his bizarre behavior? Suddenly, Daniel became aware of something chilling. No one in the row behind them had spoken since takeoff. Not a cough. Not a sneeze. Not a shuffle. The row in front of them? The same. Silent. Still. He slowly turned his head to peek over the seat. Empty. Both rows. No passengers. He could have sworn they had been full. In fact, he remembered someone asking to switch seats with him just before boarding. His heart began to race. He turned to look down the aisle, but the dim cabin stretched endlessly. The plane seemed far longer than it had looked from the gate. And when he turned back to the man in seat 21C, the man was looking at him again. Still smiling. Still unblinking. "You're not supposed to be awake," he whispered. Daniel gripped the armrest. "What are you talking about?" "You raised your hand," the man said. "What?" "For the exit row. You volunteered to go first." Then the lights in the cabin flickered. In that brief stutter of light, Daniel saw something impossible. The man's face had shifted, melted. His skin sagged like wet clay, eyes hollow and black. His mouth was wide open, grinning impossibly, stretching ear to ear. A face no human could make. Then the lights flicked back. The face was normal again. Calm. Still. Smiling. Daniel shot up from his seat. But when he turned to the rest of the plane, everyone was gone. Daniel stumbled down the aisle, breathing hard, calling out, "Hello? Is anyone else here?" No answer. The hum of the engines had vanished. The pressure in his ears was gone. It was like the air itself had stopped moving. He looked back. Seat 21C was empty. Then, from the cockpit door at the far end of the plane, a voice echoed. The man's voice. You shouldn't have volunteered. The door slowly creaked open. Inside, instead of instruments and pilots, there was only darkness. A cold, vast void. Daniel turned to run, but the aisle stretched out, never ending. The emergency lights on the floor flashed red now, not white. Every row he passed was empty. Dusty. Ancient. This wasn't a plane anymore. This was something else. Behind him, footsteps echoed. He turned again. There was the man. Walking calmly. Always smiling. You said yes, he said. So I came for you first. Daniel screamed, reaching for the emergency exit handle, hoping for anything, any way out. He pulled. Light exploded outward. And then. He woke up. He was in the terminal again. Same seat. Same gate. Same clock, 1:04 a.m. His boarding pass still in hand. Had it been a dream? Then the gate agent called, Flight 1178 now boarding, exit row passengers first. Daniel froze. A man walked past him. Tall. Pale. Carrying no luggage. Wearing a charcoal black overcoat. And smiling.